We'll start off with Dave McMenamin.
After scoring 40 points in Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals, Devin Booker has only combined for 35 in Games 2 and 3. Now, he said part of that has been the defense of Patrick Beverley, who he claimed has been ultra-aggressive on him, but he also said he has to do a much better job of getting to his spots. Suns coach Monty Williams said Phoenix can help Booker out by playing with more pace than they did in Game 3 because Booker, with space around him in the open court, is as devastating an offensive player as exists in today's game. Now for a report on the Clippers, let's go to Om Youngmisoo.
We saw Kawhi Leonard sitting high up at a Staples Center suite during Game 3, but that doesn't mean he's just lounging around. Leonard has been very active behind the scenes, visiting the locker room and even the coach's room at halftime of games, providing intel on what he's seeing. Paul George talked to Leonard after Games 1 and 2 and discussed things like rotations, when to drive, and the defensive attention George is receiving. Ty Lue recently told me he has seen a more vocal Leonard try to lead his team this postseason. Back to you, Stephen A.
Thanks, Mike Wilbon, the Hall of Famer, Kendrick Perkins, the champion. Both of you are with me right now. Mike Wilbon, when we think about Game 3, we think about Booker and CP3 and what happened with them. What happened with them in Game 3? Devin Booker. How were they able to be defended like that, Devin Booker and CP3?
Rust, a mask, and hellacious defense. That's the formula. Okay. I mean, and you can start wherever you want. I mean, Devin Booker now has had a day in a practice to get accustomed to that mask. I mean, we know Rip Hamilton tried to talk him through some of the finer points of mask wearing. A lot of people thought, I know Jeff Van Gundy said this very pointedly before the game, that Chris Paul will be Chris Paul, but maybe not right away.
Right.
And he was completely right about that. We expect to see somebody closer to the Chris Paul in the second half and even earlier in the previous series tonight. But also that defense, Stephen A.
Yeah,
you mentioned it. I mean, those guys play great defense. I don't expect for that to change. So there's going to have to be some creativity on the part of Monty Williams, who we know can be that. And also on the part of Chris Paul for getting himself and Devin Booker to the spots that Booker spoke of.
Perk, how do you feel about that? Do you feel a duplicate performance could be put in Game 4 relative to what transpired in Game 3 against CP3 and Booker?
Well, I'm with Mike Wilbon on one of those parts as far as with CP3 shaking the rust. But look, hey, listen, they got to find a way to get Devin Booker open, all right? Because right now, Patrick Beverley is on his heels like a pair of church socks. I hear him screaming first team all defense so loud, I got to put earplugs in my ear, and I'm watching the game from the house. Listen, he has to find a way to get going. Run him off of pin downs, having Ayton and Crowder setting better picks. Stephen A., you called him the second coming of Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant was dropping 30 pieces with face masks.
I'm thinking about the rust that CP3 came into Game 3 with, right? And I'm thinking about Cameron Payne and how he had 29 points, 9 assists in 37 minutes without a single turnover in Game 2, but he was only able to play 4 minutes in Game 3 due to that ankle injury. Wilbon, you and I were watching him out here. He looks pretty healthy and ready to go. What kind of help do you think that will provide for CP3 and Booker in this game?
Well, first of all, remember, Monty can play them together.
Right.
He can, particularly that sort of takes care of the notion of the Clippers just going small and having some great advantage. They wouldn't. Cameron Payne, you and I have been watching him constantly. He's shooting deep threes like he'd been effective on in the previous series in these playoffs. Going to the basket, I mean, he looks, there's nobody guarding him yet.
Right.
He looks pretty good right now. So they got to be encouraged about that after that 4-minute performance of the night. That's not going to get it, particularly when Chris Paul is still sort of playing his way back into his form.
Perk, what about you with that point I brought up about Cameron Payne? Real quick, what's your answer to that?
Well, he's going to help tremendously. I think when you look at their bench scoring, as far as with the Phoenix Suns, he's their go-to guy. Monty Williams has done a great job of actually implementing him as the six-man candidate. And with him going out in Game 3, I thought it hurt Phoenix tremendously. Him coming back in Game 4, this is why I got the Suns winning tonight, because of Cam Payne help.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.